Good morning, ladies. Today we're going to do the videos for the Epsilon tablet stand. So this is your completed tablet stand, big hole in the middle, and it folds down for easy sort of packing away or taking on holiday or popping in your suitcase or travelling in your handbag. My daughter takes one on the train so she can watch her tablet when she's on the train. It doesn't have to be an iPad, it can be any tablet. You can even pop your phone on there without any bother. You've also got a couple of pockets on the back for storage of bits and pieces. So without further ado, let's get on. So let's just have a little look at what we're going to need for this. We'll start off with 3 pieces of cardboard, and this is the corrugated cardboard, so it has a you can see it's got like the wiggly lines inside, so it's quite strong. This came from an IKEA box. You need 3 pieces of that, the measurements for which are 8 wide by 6.5 high. I cut this with a craft knife, and I just do several cuts with a craft knife to get nice straight edges. Otherwise, if you try doing it with scissors, you get bends, and don't use your fabric scissors, ladies. You will regret it if you do. So you're going to need 3 pieces of stiff corrugated cardboard, 8 by 6.5. A piece of hook and loop Velcro, but you only can call it Velcro if it's actually made by Velcro. This isn't. This is hook and loop. You're going to need both sides. Hook and loop because this side has got lots of, the softer side has got lots of little hooks on it, and the harder plastic side, the one that catches on everything, has lots of little plastic hoops which grab hold of the hooks. Hook and loop. 7.5 inches of hook and loop. You'll need your 2 pocket panels, and these are, how big are the pocket panels? Oh, I've gone blank. 8 by 5.5, so 8 wide by 5.5 high. You're going to need 2 of them. Sometimes I do this with 1 exterior fabric and 1 accent fabric. This time I'm doing 2 with my exterior fabric, and I've interfaced one of these with a woven fusible interfacing. If you haven't got woven fusible interfacing, it's fine. Use an ordinary non-woven fusible interfacing. It's just to give the pocket a bit of guts, really. It doesn't need to be on both though, just the one. So you've got those 2 pieces, and then your main pieces. So I have my main fabric and my accent fabric, and these are 26 by 9, so quite long, 26 by 9, and I've given them all a nice press so there's no creases in them. The only other thing you're going to need is some, oops, just dropped something, wadding. So I'm just using, this is just basic scraps of polyester wadding, and I just sort of stuff it in as I need to. You could use scraps of fabric if you've got fabric. If you haven't got wadding, you could use something out of a pillow. You can kind of stuff it with anything, really. It's just about getting something that's going to give you that nice sort of sausage along the front of your tablet stand for your tablet to sit on. So we're going to start with our pocket. So take your 2 pocket pieces and lay them right sides together, which I've done. Then you're going to, along one of the long sides, so along the bottom edge. So if your fabric here is directional, then you need to make sure that the direction of the fabric is going in the right way. However, I would hazard to say that this is not a suitable pattern for directional fabrics because of the way the tablet stand goes in different directions. You will always end up with one side not going the right way. So non-directional fabrics is the way forwards. So pop a pin in along the bottom, just a couple of pins, leaving a gap of about 4 inches. I'm not going to say specifically, and I'm not measuring it, but a gap that's between the 2, that's sort of midway, about 4 inches. It's only a gap to turn this pocket through. So let me just grab a pair of scissors, because I don't appear to have any scissors here either. I've tidied up and now can't find anything. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch all the way around the outsides, all the way along the top, all the way down the other side, and all the way back to that pin, leaving that gap. However, what I am going to do is I'm going to stitch from the outside in. So not starting here, starting up the outside. I'm going to go in a couple of stitches and then start to come along. The seam allowance for this is 1/4 inch, 6 millimeters. So let me just move the camera along so you can see what I'm doing. Okie dokie. So we're going to start from where that, oh no I'm not, I'm going to start from the outside. I just said that. So I'm going to take my pin out so I don't stitch over the top of it. My cardboard's on the floor there, and I'm going to just make sure my stitch length is okay. Just a couple of back stitches from the outside into my 1/4 inch line, or 1/4 inch mark, where I know I'm 1/4 inch stitching. Pivot at the corners. Slow down so I don't shoot straight off the top of my pocket, which I have done before. On the top. Down the side. I'm just going to remove that pin. I can see the pinhole, so I know where my 1/4 inch mark is, where my stop mark is. When I get to my stop mark, I'm just going to turn it round and I'm just going to do a couple of stitches out towards the edge of the fabric and then a couple of back stitches to secure it. So let me just remove my threads. So what you end up with is that. So you can see you've got your little bit of stitching that goes down towards the edge of the fabric. And it's stitched all the way around. Good heavens, it's snowing outside. I'm going to ignore that. So we're going to trim off the corners on all 4 corners. Then we're going to turn our pocket through and poke out the corners using either your finger, or if you have a pokey tool that you like, or in my case I've lost my pokey tool. I don't quite know what I've done with it, so I'm going to use the blade of my scissors. If you're going to use the blade of your scissors, do be careful you don't poke the scissors straight through the corner. I've done it more than once, it's very annoying. Then I just grab my iron and lift that behind as well. Okay, you're not as organised as I generally am. And we're just going to press that pocket so that it's nice and flat. And all the seams are sitting right on the side. Now that bottom edge where you did your extra bit of stitching, because you've done that extra bit of stitching, it should help for that to help to turn those raw edges inwards. So just give them a little bit of a encouragement to go in and get rid of any. I've got a couple of threads there that seem to be slightly protruding, and press along that bottom edge as well. edge sometimes gets a bit curved if you're not careful, so just roll that seam between your fingers. You want the stitch line to be right on the top, otherwise you'll end up with a slightly curved pocket. It's not a major issue, but it just looks a little untidy in my book. There we are. Having done that, I'm now just going to do a couple of lines of top stitching, because I like doing a couple of lines of top stitching across the top. The first one I'm going to do at 1/8 of an inch, back stitching just a couple of stitches at the beginning. And the second one at 1/4 of an inch, just because I can. Get rid of any excess bits of thread, because you don't need them. And I'm just going to give that another press just to feel comfortable that it's exactly how I want it. And we have our pocket completed. So that's one nice rectangular pocket with nice sharp corners. And we still have the opening in the bottom, but that's fine, because when we stitch it to our main panel, we're going to close that up. So I will be back to you shortly with the next stage.